today to Dubasari in Moldova, at the invitation of Mr. Snegur. They're going to form a coordinating commission which will be operating in the area of the conflict which took place. After the break, which was linked with the Dubasari events, the Moldavian parliament resumed its normal operations. First, the parliament honored the memory of both sides that lost their lives in the conflict, all the more so that the left bank of the river these people were burying their dead today. The deputies heard reports from the prosecutor, this was Mr. Paslavan, with regard to the nature of the conflict, its causes and the results. 25 members of the National Guard participated with 68 members of the Special Forces. 7 people were killed, 14 wounded, 22 detained. As for the organizers of this action, the investigation is yet to be concluded. The recognition of Russia has become the chief piece of news in Armenia, and that even has pushed aside the problem of shortages in the stores. But we've learned that there's only enough natural gas till the end of the year, and the situation in the south has forced the president to declare a state of emergency, and there is an escalation of military activity in Nagorno-Karabakh. Russia and Armenian relations have always been very important, especially for Armenia, and I am convinced, this is President of Armenia, that the recognition by Russia of Armenian will serve to further strengthen our ties. So we were the first republic which said that it wanted to join the Commonwealth. This is the path to creating truly independent states. So the Republic of Armenia would participate in the meeting in Almaty, yes. There's an agreement. A free political discussion was developed in Parliament today. Unfortunately, it didn't last long since there wasn't any electricity and there was no heat. And that was kind of tough even for the Supreme Soviet. The majority of the deputies approved the entrance of Armenia into the Commonwealth. The visit of Vice President of Russia, Mr. Rutskoy, to Iran has begun with the goal of strengthening Russian-Iranian relations. This will be especially devoted to trade and the creation of a free trade zone on the Caspian. Rutskoy will meet with Shiite Mujahedin based in Iran. From southern Ossetia, we have contradictory reports. At the outskirts of Shinvali in Znauria, there is shooting going on. The commander of these troops in the region confirmed the reports that Georgian military units were preparing to take the city by force. In Nagorno-Karabakh, there is rocket fire. On the 17th of December, there were 35 rockets shot at Stepanakert, and the same amount was directed at the villages of Askeran and Agbulakh. In Yerevan, it is noted that the hostages taken from the train that was going from Nakhichevan to Baku have been released. The region has an state of emergency declared. There was a declaration today of the prosecutor of Lithuania, who said that the attack, which took place of Medianka, was accomplished by OMON Special Forces. We see here a city in Perm, the Russian city of Perm, has no food. Ukraine didn't send any sugar. Rostov didn't send any meat, and Tataria didn't send any butter. Here in Perm, you can see such weaponry. We are great specialists in preparing weapons here in Perm. But now we're wondering when we can change our ration coupons into food, our cannons into butter. There's conversion to civilian facilities from military purposes is not going very fast, and we can't feed ourselves. In Perm and the region, there are strikes, and so there was a decision made that 10% of production should be sent to a regional center for barter in exchange for foodstuffs. The decision was also made to stop delivering equipment to areas which have refused to deliver food to us. We see this picture in all the ports of the Pacific. We see here floating canneries, hundreds of trawlers which have no fuel, no diesel fuel and diesel oils. The Far Eastern fishermen are not getting any answer from the Russian government in response to the request for fuel. And as a result, this country is losing 2 million rubles of production per day. The social safety net during the transition to remarket has begun the topic of a meeting in Turkmenia in the Presidential Council. In the Republic, there will be state regulation of prices for certain essential foodstuffs and also child's goods. Every third family here has a lot of children. It is a rural population. The president called upon the local leaders to lease the land on a long-term basis to anyone who wanted to, especially in the virgin lands. The wholesale prices will increase by 3 or 4 times. The president then indicated that it was necessary to begin consistently pursuing market mechanisms, including privatization and entrepreneurial activity and all forms of private property. This is the Prime Minister of Estonia, who is holding the first checkbook. Soon, everyone in the Republic who wants such a checkbook will get one. According to Edgar Savisaar, this was a forced step, considering the money crisis, since we're not getting any more money from the State Bank of the USSR. But then we're getting a lot of money from private entrepreneurs who cannot be controlled. The last auction in Tallinn showed a price for the dollar of 300 rubles. That's a man's salary for a month. And of course, the richest persons were not from Estonia, so the connections of Estonia with the former republics have not yet been broken off. So we're continuing our stories from the Kuril Islands. Here are 2 views. During his visit to the southern Kuril, Mr. Kunadze, the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister, was whistled down when he gave his speech. In 1957, Mr. Kunadze said, "We promised to hand over the island, 2 islands, to Japan." It was 56, that is, and to Sheikh Hassan and Savamai. There were protests and demands that the islands be defended. If a person is in a state of panic, he doesn't know what to do. What form will this extremism take? Will it be anti-Japanese moves? No, I don't think so. On the whole horizon, I think that we see them everywhere, these moods. It's a sort of a rage over what's happening. These people might turn their rage against our government instead, and perhaps we even deserve that. Mr. Kunadze's words even found support among the local residents. Here is the local society called Zemlyak. The woman is here saying that we were raised believing that we were unfair to the Japanese. This is not our land. My father saw the Japanese being driven away, how they abandoned everything. We lived in houses with Japanese furniture, which the Japanese had abandoned in their fear. This is wild. This is something like the 17th century. We understand that this is Japanese land. We drove them off. We should recognize as a fact. We want to remain here and work here, even if the Japanese come back. Today, the Finnish ambassador handed over to the foreign minister of USSR, Mr. Koloko, a document confirming that Finland de facto recognizes Russia, and the friendship pact with the Soviet Union will be transferred to Russia. These negotiations and other negotiations on the part of Finland signify a recognition of Russia by Finland. The ambassador of Romania handed over a recognition by Romania de jure of Russia, and it was an invitation to Yeltsin to visit the country. So that means that Norway, Finland, and Romania have recognized Russia. This is a period when we see a number of countries recognizing Russia.